stand up and tell me the truth. I know things go bad. I know people lose their tempers. I know bad things happen when you don't want them to. So stand up and tell me that. Tell me what happened to her.
After decades of silence, new revelations have finally shed light on Natalie Wood's mysterious death. That cold night aboard the Splendour raised more questions than answers, until now. Startling new evidence suggests a surprising suspect. But perhaps most haunting is what her sister recently revealed, a painful truth kept hidden for years. Why did it take so long to surface, and what happened that night? Join us as we uncover the chilling story behind Natalie Wood's final hours. Natalie was born a star. Natalie Wood was born as Natalie Zakarenko in the busy city of San Francisco, California. Her parents, Maria Zudilova and Nicholas Zakarenko, came from very different but equally difficult backgrounds. Maria, who also went by Mary, Marie, or Musaya, was from a city called Barnaul in Russia. Her father owned soap and candle shops, along with a large house in the countryside. But when the Russian Civil War started, everything changed. Her family had to run for their lives and ended up in Harbin, China, with many other refugees trying to escape the violence. Maria and Nicholas met while she was still married to someone else, but they fell in love and got married, just 5 months before Natalie was born. Not long after, Nicholas changed the family's last name to Gurdon to help them fit in better in America. Adapting to their situation, the family bought a house in Santa Rosa, California, where they lived peacefully. One day, a film crew came to town, and while little Natalie watched from afar, she also caught their eye. Even at that young age, something about her stood out. Natalie's mother had big dreams for her daughter, so when a film director named Irving Pitchell offered her a screen test, Maria didn't hesitate. She packed up the family and moved to Los Angeles. Although her husband disagreed with the move, Maria was determined to make her little girl a star. Pitchell had noticed Natalie when she had 2 very short roles in The Moon is Down and Happy Land, both in 1943. Although her scenes lasted only seconds, her charm and screen presence were unforgettable. Pitchell saw something special in her and stayed in touch with the family, waiting for the right moment. That moment came in 1946, when Natalie was just 7 years old. She was given a bigger role in Tomorrow is Forever, playing a German orphan after the Second World War. She acted alongside big stars like Orson Welles and Claudette Colbert, and somehow, she lost her childhood in the process. When Natalie couldn't cry because of a sad scene, her mother did something shocking. She tore apart a butterfly in front of her to make her cry. The plan worked, and Natalie gave a powerful performance. Orson Welles was amazed and revealed that Natalie was so talented it was scary. After that movie, Natalie's career grew fast. She appeared again in Pitchell's movie The Bride Wore Boots and later played Gene Tierney's daughter in The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. All of this started before she was even 10. With every role, Natalie's natural talent and warm smile won over more hearts. From a family that once fled war to a young girl lighting up Hollywood, her story was already remarkable, and her rise was just beginning. From there, her momentum only grew. She was entirely swept into the world of entertainment, but which roles truly revealed the star she was becoming? Stepping further into the spotlight. One role that single-handedly boosted Natalie's career was Miracle on 34th Street. In this movie, Natalie played a young girl who didn't believe in fairy tales, especially not in Santa Claus. But everything changed when she met a kind older man working as a department store Santa, played by Edmund Gwenn. Her character slowly begins to believe, and that transformation touched the hearts of millions. The movie became a holiday classic, and Natalie's charm and honesty on screen made her a star overnight. From that moment on, the film world couldn't get enough of her. Macy's even invited her to appear in their famous Thanksgiving Day parade, a huge honor that showed just how loved she had become in the entertainment industry. Her name was everywhere, and producers kept calling. She had something that couldn't be taught, a natural talent, and the kind of screen presence that made her unforgettable. Film historian John Tibbetts also took note of how Natalie stepped into one role after another, often playing the sweet, smart daughter in family-centered films. It was like she was born to fill those roles, sliding into them with ease and confidence. In movies like Driftwood, Scudda-Hoo, Scudda-Hey, and Chicken, every Sunday she brought warmth and truth to the screen. She even starred alongside big names too, like Fred MacMurray, James Stewart, Bette Davis, and always held her own, no matter how young she was. Because she was still a child, California law required her to keep up with school. She did so right on the movie lots, squeezing in 3 hours of learning every day. But even while juggling books and scripts, Natalie shone. She was a straight-A student with a special gift for math, and her intelligence set her apart. Director Joseph L. Mankiewicz, who directed her in The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, said he had never met a more brilliant child actor. Natalie herself remembered how seriously she took it all. She felt guilty knowing the film crew had to wait while she studied, so the moment class ended, she would sprint to the set, ready to perform. That kind of passion doesn't come from pressure, but from purpose. Even behind the scenes, her mother believed in Natalie's destiny and stayed deeply involved in every step of her journey. She coached her, planned her moves, and pushed her toward greatness. And by age 9, Natalie had already been crowned the most exciting young movie star of the year by Parents Magazine. As she grew older, did her career lose steam, continue to soar, or did she choose to pursue other passions? Natalie's teen stardom. Given all the years that Natalie had been acting, it was clear that Natalie Wood wasn't just passing through Hollywood. She was growing up with it, and it was growing with her. After dazzling audiences as a child, Natalie kept right on shining, taking on more mature roles that proved she wasn't just a cute kid. In the 1953 to 1954 television season, Natalie played Ann Morrison, the teenage daughter in The Pride of the Family, a light-hearted sitcom on ABC. Even as a teenager, she had a natural way of bringing her characters to life. She also appeared in popular shows of the time like the Pepsi-Cola Playhouse, the Ford Television Theater, and General Electric Theater. Her episode of GE Theater, titled Carnival, was one of her personal favorites. She referred to it as one of the best performances of her early career. She wasn't just sticking to television. She moved into more grown-up film roles with parts in The Silver Chalice and One Desire, slowly stepping out of her child star shadow and proving she could take on more extreme and emotional parts. But the big change came when she was only 16. She landed a role in Rebel Without a Cause, playing opposite James Dean and Sal Mineo in a movie that would become a cultural landmark. This film was different. It was about lost teenagers, broken homes, and young people searching for meaning. For Natalie, it was more than just another job to help her become a more successful actor. It was the first time she read a script and felt a deep desire to play the part. Until then, she had done what she was told. But for this role, she stood her ground, even though her parents disapproved. She called it the moment she finally had a say in her own career. Her performance was powerful and raw, and it earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. It was the moment the world saw her not as a former child actress, but as a young woman with real depth and talent. Natalie kept building on that momentum. She took on guest roles in respected anthology shows like Studio One in Hollywood, Camera 3, Kings Row, Studio 57, Warner Brothers Presents, and the Kaiser Aluminum Hour, each time proving she could handle any character thrown her way. She also had a small but unforgettable role in John Ford's classic western The Searchers, and took the lead in the dramatic A Cry in the Night, showing just how far she'd come. Even while juggling her rising career, Natalie finished high school, graduating from Van Nuys High in 1956. That same year, she officially signed with Warner Brothers, but the studio often gave her roles that didn't challenge her, parts where she played the pretty girlfriend, but not much more. Still, she made the best of them, co-starring in 2 films with heartthrob Tab Hunter, the western The Burning Hills, and the romantic drama The Girl He Left Behind. Warner Brothers also tried pairing her with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. in Bombers, and then gave her a chance to shine in a more serious role in Marjorie Morningstar. This time, Natalie played a young Jewish girl in New York who wanted to follow her dreams instead of living by her family's rules. It was a meaningful part that showed the world she was ready for stories with real heart and emotion. Adulthood in the spotlight brought its own set of challenges and emotional strain. At this point in her career, did she buckle under the pressure or retreat from the glare of fame? Growing in the spotlight. While many child actors faded away, Natalie only seemed to grow brighter with each passing year, as if the spotlight had always been waiting for her. By the late 1950s, her roles were gaining depth and intensity. Critics like Tibbets noted that her performances in Rebel Without a Cause, The Searchers, and Marjorie Morningstar marked a new high point in her career. The innocent charm of her early days was combined with a new restlessness, one that perfectly showed the changing spirit of the times. She took bold steps, even when they came with risk. After starring with Frank Sinatra in Kings Go Forth, she refused roles she didn't believe in and was suspended by Warner Brothers for a full year. But even that couldn't dim her fire. She came back in the movie, Cash McCall, and though her momentum wavered briefly, Natalie wasn't done. Far from it. Everything changed when she saw A Streetcar Named Desire. The emotional power of Vivien Leigh's performance and the direction of Elia Kazan left her stunned. It was more than inspiration. It was a call. She wanted to act like that. So when Kazan was casting Splendour in the Grass, she knew this was her chance. Hollywood thought she was washed up. Kazan disagreed. He saw something in her eyes, a flicker of pain and vulnerability, then decided to cast her in the lead. Natalie poured her soul into the role of a young woman shattered by love and expectations. The result was a powerhouse performance that earned her Oscar, BAFTA, and Golden Globe nominations. Later that year, she starred in West Side Story as Maria, a young woman caught in a love story doomed by violence and division. Even though her singing was dubbed, the film was a massive hit, and her emotional presence on screen helped cement her as one of the era's greats. Critics saw clear ties between her role here and in Rebel, 2 young women full of longing, love, and rebellion. Natalie kept soaring. In Gypsy, Love with the Proper Stranger, and comedies like Sex and The Single Girl and The Great Race, she proved she could do it all. By 25, she had received 3 Oscar nominations, something only a few actresses ever achieved so young. Even when critics poked fun, naming her Worst Actress in a Harvard Lampoon joke, Natalie showed up and laughed along. That confidence, that spark, it was who she was. Because when someone is born to act, no award, no break, no bad review can stop them. And Natalie Wood? She was made for the screen. But the smiles and confidence could not hold her head high for too long. At this point, the expectations, setbacks, and personal challenges started to catch up with her. What was this phase of her life like? The price of fame. Natalie Wood had spent most of her life under bright lights. Even when the applause faded or the scripts disappointed, she kept going because acting wasn't just a job for her. It was a pulse she couldn't ignore. In 1966, something shifted for Natalie. Penelope was meant to be a fun, light-hearted project, but for her, the experience was anything but. Behind the scenes, she was struggling. She would later share that each day on set felt like real, physical pain, even breaking out in hives during filming. To the director, Arthur Hiller, it seemed like she was simply pushing back against the role. He didn't see what was going on. The truth was that she was hurting and needed time to reevaluate things. Emotionally exhausted, she stepped away from the spotlight. She paid Warner Brothers $175,000 to cancel her contract. She fired her agents, her managers, her publicist, everyone. It was more than just a break from Hollywood. It was a cry for peace. She entered therapy, hoping to rebuild herself from the inside out. Her love life was far more complicated and also contributed to the anguish she was going through. Her love story started at the age of 19 when she married actor Robert Wagner in 1957, but whispers followed them. In 1961, reports claim Natalie caught Wagner with another man. The marriage ended soon after. Over the next few years, she dated stars like Warren Beatty and Michael Caine and was even briefly engaged to a Venezuelan shoe tycoon. She later married British producer Richard Gregson and had a daughter, Natasha, before divorcing him in 1972. By then, she had rekindled her relationship with Wagner. They remarried that same year aboard a yacht off Malibu, and in 1974 welcomed a second daughter, Courtney. Yet even this reunion wasn't the perfect ending people hoped for. In 2015, a former FBI agent, Donald Wilson, claimed he and Natalie had a 4-year affair that began while she was pregnant with Courtney. He spoke publicly about it in a 2016 documentary. After the series of heartbreak and sadness, Natalie appeared to have found love again. But this love was going to be the end of her. What really happened to her? What are the details of the darkest chapter in her life? A dark and tragic night. On November 28, 1981, Natalie Wagner brainstormed co-star Christopher Walken and the yacht's captain Dennis Davern set out for Catalina Island on Wagner's boat, the Splendour. That night something happened. By morning, Natalie was found floating a mile from the boat. She was just 43. The autopsy showed bruises on her arms and face and a scratch on her neck. Her blood alcohol level was 0.14, and she had taken a motion sickness pill and a painkiller, both of which increase alcohol's effects. The coroner ruled her death accidental, drowning and hypothermia. He suggested she may have slipped trying to reboard the dinghy. But her sister Lana didn't believe it. Natalie, she insisted, couldn't swim and had a lifelong fear of deep water. 2 witnesses from a nearby boat said they heard a woman screaming for help that night. For years, Dennis Davern backed Robert Wagner's account of what happened that night. But in 2011, his story changed. He admitted he hadn't told the truth. According to Davern, Natalie and Wagner had argued, possibly over her connection with Christopher Walken. He described Wagner as furious, claiming he stopped Davern from calling for help and told him to leave her there to teach her a lesson. Davern also revealed that Wagner kept drinking as Natalie disappeared into the dark. Walken stayed silent throughout, lawyered up, and was never officially considered a suspect. Wagner, for his part, denied any wrongdoing for decades. But in his memoir, Pieces of My Heart, he finally acknowledged what many had long suspected. There had been a fight that night. In 2012, the coroner changed Natalie's cause of death to drowning and other undetermined factors. A 2013 autopsy addendum noted that many of her bruises might have occurred before she entered the water. A doctor who worked under the original coroner said the injuries looked like someone had been thrown overboard. In 2018, nearly 40 years after Natalie's death, Robert Wagner was named a person of interest in the case. he was the last known person to see her alive. Natalie's death also brought out haunting secrets that she endured in the name of fame. Suzanne Finstad's 2001 biography of Natalie Wood alleges that when she was 16, a powerful actor had forced himself on her, though Finstad didn't reveal the actor's name. Based on recollections from Wood's close friends, including actors Scott Marlowe and Dennis Hopper, Finstad said that while some details and timing differ, the main story remained consistent. A married movie star lured Natalie, forced himself on her, and left her too frightened to report it. She kept the experience a secret, even though she hated him and would shudder at his name. Natalie's mother, Mud, taught her to avoid crossing influential Hollywood figures. In a 2018 podcast about Natalie's life, her sister Lana confirmed the attack, claiming that it happened during an audition at the Chateau Marmont and lasted for hours. Professor Cynthia Lucia, who studied the claim, described the incident as harmful. In 2021, after Kirk Douglas's death, Lana released a memoir identifying him as the alleged assailant. What did her mother do to protect Natalie from the likes of Kirk Douglas? Was it after these incidents that Natalie decided to retreat into her shell? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.